हरे कृष्णा। हरे कृष्णा। थैंक यू आरती माता जी। मंगलाचरण। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिते नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। ओके, तो कोई आज गाना चाहेगा? प्रेयर नितेश प्रभु और आरती माता जी। Okay, so I'll continue to sing and then we'll read the translation. आम्नायाभ्यसनान्यरण्यरुदितं वेदव्रतान् अन्वहम् मेदश्छेदफलानि पूर्तविधयः सर्वं हुतं भस्मनि तीर्थानाम् अवगाहनानि च गज स्नानं विना यत्पद द्वन्द्वाम्भोरुह संस्मृतिं विजयते देव न स देव स नारायणः। मदन परिहर स्थितं मदीये मनसि मुकुन्द पदारविन्दधाम्नि हरनयन कृशानुनाकृशोऽसि स्मरसि न चक्र पराक्रमं मुरारिः। नाथे धातरि भोगि भोगशयने नारायणे माधवे देवे देवकी नन्दने सुरवरे चक्रायुधे शाङ्गिनी लीलाशेषजगत्प्रपञ्चजठरे विश्वेश्वरे श्रीधरे गोविन्दे कुरुचित्तवृत्तिमचलम् अन्यैस्तु किं वर्तनै। माद्राक्षं क्षीणपुण्यान् क्षणमपि भवतो भक्तिहीनान् पदाब्जे मा श्रोषं श्राव्यबन्धं तव चरितम् अपास्यान्यद् आख्यानजातं मा स्मार्षं माधव त्वम् अपि भुवनपते चेतसा पानुवानान् मा भुवं तत्सपर्या व्यतिकररहितो जन्म जन्मान्तरेऽपि। मज्जन्मनफलमिदं मधुकैतभारे मत्प्रार्थनीयमदनुग्रह एष एव त्वद्भृत्य भृत्य परिचारकभृत्य भृत्य भृत्यस्य भृत्य इति मां स्मर लोकनाथ। तत्त्वं ब्रुवाणानि परं परस्तान् मधुक्षरन्तीव मुदा वहानि प्रवर्तय प्राञ्जलिरस्मि जीवे नामानि नारायण गोचराणि नमामि नारायणपादपङ्कजं करोमि नारायणपूजनं सदा वदामि नारायणनाम निर्मलं स्मरामि नारायणतत्त्वमव्ययम्। श्रीनाथ नारायण वासुदेव श्रीकृष्ण भक्त प्रियचक्रपाणि श्रीपद्मनाभाच्युत कैतभारे श्रीराम पद्माक्ष हरे मुरारे अनन्तवैकुण्ठ मुकुन्द कृष्ण गोविन्द दामोदर माधवेति वक्तुं समर्थोऽपि न वक्ति कश्चित् अहो जनानां व्यसनाभिमुख्यम् भक्तापाय भुजङ्गगारुडमणिः त्रैलोक्यरक्षामणिः गोपीलोचनचातकाम्बुदमणिः सौन्दर्यमुद्रामणिः यः कान्तमणिकृक्मिणीगणकुच द्वन्द्वैकभूषामणि श्रेयो देवशिखामणिर्दिशतु नो गोपालचूडामणिः श्री मुकुंदमाला स्तोत्र की जय। कुलशेखर आलवार की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। Would you like to read the translation?
I I want to read Prabhuji.
Yeah, please. Go ahead, Mataji.
All glories to Lord Narayana. Without remembrance of his lotus feet, recitation of scripture is merely crying in the wilderness. Regular observance of severe vows enjoined in the Vedas is no more than a way to lose weight. Execution of prescribed pious duties is like pouring oblations into ashes, and bathing at various holy sites is no better than an elephant's bath. O Cupid, abandon your residence in my mind, which is now the home of Lord Mukunda's lotus feet. You have already been incinerated by Lord Shiva's fiery glance. So why have you forgotten the power of Lord Murari's disc? Think only of your master and sustainer, the Supreme Lord, who is known as Narayana and Madhva, and who lies on the body of the serpent Ananta. He is the darling son of Devaki, the hero of the demigods, and the lord of the cows, and he holds a conch shell and the bow saranga. He is the husband of the goddess of fortune and the controller of all universes, which he manifests from his abdomen as a pastime. What will you gain by thinking of anything else? O Madhva, please do not let me even glance at those whose pious credits are so depleted that they have no devotion for your lotus feet. Please do not let me be distracted from listening to the worthy narration of your pastimes and become interested in other topics. Please, O Lord of the universe, let me pay no attention to those who avoid thinking of you, and let me never be unable to serve you in some menial way, birth after birth. O enemy of Madhu and Ketaba, O Lord of the universe, the perfection of my life and the most cherished mercy you could show me would be for you to consider me the servant of 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 your servant. My dear tongue, I stand before you with joined palms and beg you to recite the names of Lord Narayana. These names described the supreme absolute truth bring great pleasure as if exuding honey. At every moment I bow down to the lotus feet of Narayana. I perform worship to Narayana. I recite the pure name of Narayana and I reflect on the infallible truth of Narayana. O Srinath, Narayana, Vasudev, Divine, Krishna, O kind friend of your devotees, O Chakrapani, Padmanabha, Achutya, Kaitabri, Rama, Padmaksha, Hari, Murari, O Ananta, Vaikuntha, Mukunda, Krishna, Govinda, Damodar, Madhava. Although all people can address you, still they remain silent. Just see how eager they are for their own peril. He is the jewel riding on the back of Garuda, who carries away the Lord's devotees on his wings. He's the magic jewel protecting the three walls, the jewel like cloud attracting the Chataka bird eyes of the gopis. Is it Chetak, Prabhuji? Chetak bird eyes?
चातक चातक जी उसका नाम है चातक बर्ड.
Chatak. Chatak bird eyes of the gopis. And the jewel among all who gesture gracefully. He is the only jeweled ornament on the ample breast of Queen Rukmani, who is herself the jewel of beloved consorts. May that crown jewel of all gods, the best of the cowherd, grant us the supreme benedictions. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा. थैंक यू आरती माता जी. ये चातक bird are they are very special. So here he's saying, King Kulashekara is saying that let me be like the chatak bird eyes of the gopis, because they're one focused, without any deviation, without any distraction. They're always just focused on because they only drink the pure water coming from the raindrops. तो यहाँ पे गोपियों को चातक बर्ड के जैसे बताया है कि चातक बर्ड की जो आईज है वो ऑलवेज फोकस होती है एक ही जगह पे. सिर्फ उनको मानसून क्लाउड, घने जो घनश्याम बादल होते हैं, उस पे फोकस रहती है कि कब बारिश होगी और कब. सो दैट इज हाउ द गोपीज आर ऑलवेज वन पॉइंट अटेंशन. सो दैट इज द प्योर डिवोटीज ऑफ द लॉर्ड आर ऑलवेज and always just focused only on the supreme lord, right? उनका ध्यान इधर उधर नहीं भटक रहा है. तो वो है चातक बर्ड के जैसे हैं गोपीस. तो अपने आप को प्रे कर रहे हैं कि मेरा भी जो साधना है, मेरे भी जो भक्ति है, वो एक वन पॉइंटेड हो आपके प्रति. सो दैट इज द प्रेयर ही इज सेइंग. ओके, थैंक यू सो मच. सो अभी हम पढ़ते हैं, विल रीड श्रील प्रभुपाद लीलामृत. टुडे वी आर अ स्मॉल क्राउड और ग्रुप, बट जैसे प्रभुपाद को उनके गुरु महाराज ने बोला था, ये कोई नहीं भी हो, सिर्फ चार दीवारें हो तो भी आप संकीर्तन करना. तो वैसे ही हम आज ज़्यादा नहीं है, लेकिन फिर भी वी विल कंटिन्यू टू रीड and we will try to imbibe some of the learnings from Srila Prabhupada's life journey. So we are continuing on chapter 16, where Prabhupada is now preaching all by himself in a separate room. It's not even an apartment. It doesn't even have any facilities to bathe, to cook, to sleep properly, but still we see how he was just completely surrendered to the Lord. He doesn't matter, his external situation doesn't matter, but internally he was always in Vrindavan. And he's starting to get a few interested American practitioners of yoga from Dr. Mishra's yoga studio who are coming and were listening to him speak from Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And yesterday, one of those young boys, Mr. Robert Nelson, he's trying to help Srila Prabhupada, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ने बोला था कि with at least one of the four things we should try to help, right? With our life, with our money, with our intelligence, or with our words. Though he was humble to say that I don't have any of those, but still, at least he came up with the idea that Prabhupada's singing can be recorded, because he was a music from the music background, and he had recorded some albums. So he was saying that will be a good way for his albums to be recorded, and then they can be sold. So that was also good. He was at least trying to use his intelligence to serve Srila Prabhupada, to serve Krishna in some way, right? But and Prabhupada did not discourage him, because he was at least trying to sincerely help him do some service. Okay, so we'll continue to read from here. Hitesh Prabhu, would you like to read today?
Prabhuji, thank you so much. Prabhuji, it's a pleasure. आनंद आ रहा है जब आप बात कर रहे हैं. Today I don't have my glasses. I was looking for the glasses, so
Okay.
I cannot see the things, and I don't have the iPad to right now with me. But
Okay.
please continue, and thank you, Aarti Mataji. Both of you are so wonderful. It actually connects to the heart when both of you are like singing translating and reading, and the way you are doing it, half English, half Hindi, is awesome. It connects very deeply. But please pardon me, today I don't have my glasses, so I can't even see the things today. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
नो प्रॉब्लम प्रभु। ये आंखें तो वैसे भी बाहरी आंखें हैं, हम मन की आंखों से सुनते हैं और देखते हैं, सो
बहुत
यू
सुंदर
कैन
प्रभुजी।
कंटिन्यू टू डू दैट। थैंक
I'm
यू सो
feeling
मच।
like I need to go back to my optometrist to see what to do. I got the progressive ones, but that's giving me headache. 20 years
ओके।
back, I got the laser, and that's gone now. So it's
ओके, thank you Prabhu. So yeah, we'll start. I'll read. Yes, we'll read from here. So Robert is saying to is reflecting or recollecting back. Me and the Swami went around to this record company on 46th Street. We went there and I started talking, and the man was all business. He was all business and mean. They go together. So we went in there with a tape and we tried talking to the man. Swami was talking, but the man said he couldn't put the tape out. I think he listened to the tape, but he wouldn't put it out. So we felt discouraged. But he didn't say much about it. Prabhupada had been in business in India, and he wasn't about to think that he could suddenly take up business in a foreign country on the advice of a young boy in New York City. Besides, he had come not to do business but to preach. Robert, however, was enthusiastically offering service. Perhaps he wouldn't become a regular brahmachari student, but he had a desire to serve Krishna. For Prabhupada, to refuse him would be perhaps to turn away an interested Western young person. Prabhupada had come to speak about Krishna, to present the chanting, and if Mr. Robert wanted to help by arranging for an American record album, then that was welcome. Mr. Robert and the Swami made an odd combination. Prabhupada was elderly and dignified, a deep scholar of the Bhagavatam and the Sanskrit language, whereas Robert Nelson was artless, even in Western culture, and inept in worldly ways. Together they would walk, the Swami wearing his winter coat with its imitation fur collar, his Indian dhoti, and white pointed shoes. Mr. Robert wearing old khaki pants and an old coat. Prabhupada walked with rapid, determined strides, outpacing the lumbering, rambling, heavy set boy who had befriended him. Mr. Robert was supposed to help Prabhupada in making presentations to businessmen and real estate men, yet he himself was hardly a slick fellow. He was innocent. Robert. Once we went over to this big office building on 42nd Street and we went in there. The rent was thousands of dollars for a whole floor. So I was standing there talking to the man, but I didn't understand how all this money would come. The Swami wanted a big place, and I didn't know what to tell the man. Prabhupada wanted a big place, and a big place meant a big price. He had no money, and Robert Nelson had only his unemployment checks. Still, Prabhupada was interested. If he were to find a building, that would be a great step in his mission. And this was also another way of engaging Mr. Robert. Besides, Krishna might do anything, give anything, or work in any way, ordinary or miraculous. So Prabhupada had his reasoning, and Mr. Robert had his. Robert, the building was between 6th and Broadway on 42nd Street, some place to open Krishna's temple. We went in and up to the second floor and saw the renting agent, and then we left. I think it was 5,000 a month or 10,000 a month. We got to a certain point and the money was too much, and then we left. When we brought up the prices, I figured we had better not. We had to stop. On another occasion, Robert Nelson took Prabhupada by bus to the Hotel Columbia at 70 West 46th Street. The hotel had a suite that Prabhupada looked at for possible use as a temple, but again it was very expensive and there was no money. Sometimes Robert would make purchases for Prabhupada with the money from his unemployment checks. Once he bought orange colored t shirts. Once he went to Woolworths and bought kitchen pots and pans and some picture frames for Prabhupada's picture of Lord Chaitanya and his spiritual master. Robert. One time I wanted to know how to make chapati cakes, so Swami says, $100, please, for the recipe. $100, please. So I went and got some money, but I couldn't get $100. But he showed me anyway. He taught me to cook and would always repeat, wash hands, and you should only eat with your right hand. And whoever met Swami was almost always impressed. They would start smiling back to him, and sometimes they would say funny things to each other that were nice. The Swami's English was very technical always. I mean, he had a big vocabulary, and sometimes people had a little trouble understanding him, and you had to help sometimes. The Paradox at 64 East 7th Street on the Lower East Side was a restaurant dedicated to the philosophy of Georges Osawa and the macrobiotic diet. It was a storefront below street level with small dining tables placed around the candlelit room. The food was inexpensive and well reputed. Tea was served free, as much as you liked. More than just a restaurant, the Paradox was a center for spiritual and cultural interests, a meeting place reminiscent of the cafes of Greenwich Village or Paris in the 1920s. A person could spend the whole day at the Paradox without buying anything, and no one would complain. The crowd at the Paradox was a mystical congregation, interested in teachings from the East. When news of the new Swami uptown at Dr. Mishra's reached at the Paradox, the word spread quickly. Harvey Cohen and Bill Epstein were friends. Harvey was a freelance artist, and Bill worked at the Paradox. After Harvey had been to Prabhupada's place at Dr. Mishra's yoga studio a few times, he came by the Paradox and began to describe all about the new Swami to Bill and other friends. Bill, I was working at the Paradox one night when Harvey came to me and said, I went to visit Mishra and there's a new Swami there and he's really fantastic. Well, I was involved in macrobiotics and Buddhism, so at first I couldn't care less. But Harvey was a winning and warm personality, and he seemed interested in this. He said, why don't you come uptown? I would like you to see this. So I went to one of the lectures on the 72nd Street. I walked in there and I could feel a certain presence from the Swami. He had a certain very concentrated, intense appearance. He looked pale and kind of weak. I guess he had come here, and he had been through a lot of things. He was sitting there chanting on his beads, which he carried in a little bead bag. One of Dr. Mishra's students was talking, and he finally got around to introducing the Swami. He said, we are the moons to the Swami's sun. He introduced him in that way. The Swami got up and talked. I didn't know what to think about it. At that time, the only steps I had taken in regard to Indian teaching were through Ramakrishna. But this was the first time, to my knowledge, that Bhakti religion had come to America. Bill Epstein, quite in contrast to Robert Nelson, was a dashing, romantic person with long, wavy, dark hair and a beard. He was good looking and effervescent and took upon himself a role of informing people at the restaurant of the city's spiritual news. Once he became interested in the new Swami, he made the Swami an ongoing topic of conversation at the restaurant. Bill, I went in the back and I asked Richard, the manager, I'm going to take some food to the Swami. You don't mind, do you? He said, no, take anything you want. So I took some brown rice and other stuff and I brought it up there. I went upstairs and I knocked on the door, and there was no answer. I knocked once again and I saw that the light was on because it had a glass panel. And finally he answered. I was really scared because I had never really accepted any teacher. He said, come in, sit down. We started talking and he said to me, the first thing that people do when they meet is to show each other love. They exchange names. They exchange something to eat. So he gave me a slice of apple and he showed me the tape recorder he had, probably for recording his chants. Then he said, have you ever chanted? I said, no, I haven't chanted before. So he played a chant and then he spoke to me some more. He said, you must come back. I said, well, if I come back, I'll bring you some more food. James Green, a 33-year-old carpentry teacher at Cooper Union, was delving into the Eastern philosophy. He lived on the same block as the Paradox and began hearing about Swami from Harvey Cohen and Bill Epstein while regularly taking his evening meal at the restaurant. James. It was really Harvey and Bill who got things going. I remember one evening at Mishra's in which Swamiji was only a presence, but he did not speak. Mishra students seemed more into the bodily aspect of yoga. This seemed to be one of Swamiji's complaints. His room on 72nd Street was quite small. He was living in a fairly narrow room with a door on the one end. Swamiji would set himself up along one side, and we were rather closely packed. It may have been no more than 8 feet wide, and it was rather dim. He sat on his thin mattress, and then we sat on the floor. We wouldn't chant. He would just come and he would lecture. There was no direction other than the lecture on the Bhagavad Gita. I had read a lot of literature, and in my own shy way, I was looking for a master, I think. I have no aggression in me or go getting quality. I was really just a listener, and this seemed right, hearing the Bhagavad Gita, so I kept coming. It just seemed as if things would grow from there. More and more people began coming. Then it got crowded, and he had to find another place. Okay, Hare Krishna. So we'll pause here for today. Yes, Srila Prabhupada, no matter where he was, just feels so जो बोलते हैं claustrophobic इतनी छोटी सी जगह में in a small room just 8 feet wide. He can hardly lie down there in that one room he was living. He was preaching. It's just amazing. And I mean, for him it is, of course. For us it looks very difficult, but again we see the hand of God in every situation. See, he was already through all these things. इंडिया में तो ये सब चीजें बहुत कॉमन होती है, राइट? व्हेन ही वाज एट द राधा दामोदर टेम्पल, उनका रूम एकदम छोटा सा ही था इसी तरह का. So he was already there. He used to sit there in the night under a lantern. Um, and यहाँ पे बिजली भी नहीं थी, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी चली जाती थी. वहाँ पे बैठ के he had done all his translations for Srimad Bhagavatam. And from that small room, now Krishna had brought him to another small room in a big city. From a small spiritual abode of Vrindavan, he was in a big Manhattan of New York. But the room was still the same. His abode was still the same. His thought process was still the same. His absorption was still the same. Everything was connected with Krishna and his Guru Maharaj. So the external situation doesn't matter. We see from his example the internals, and the internals don't change, right? So it's amazing how he, with one man, like yesterday, Meena Mataji is saying, one idea, right? वो एक famous ad आता था, one idea can change your life. But anyway, for him it was like one pointed, जैसे हम पढ़ रहे थे चातका birds के जैसे gopis, how they are one pointed in their attention. They're not distracted with any other things. They are always focused only on the Supreme Lord. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada was also like the gopis, completely absorbed, completely focused. And because of that, we see how the word is spreading. Krishna, like here, Krishna acts in miraculous ways, right? So one person, that Harvey Cohen, who had come for yoga, now he went and he started talking to his friend Bill at the Paradox, and then he went and he's talking to this other person, right? So the word is spreading about the Swami. So Krishna wants his devotees to be famous. Krishna wants his devotees to be known, right? And so Prabhupada kuch nahi kar rahe hain. Prabhupada just is connected to the Lord, and the Lord is acting in his own mystical ways, right? So slowly and slowly the word is spreading, and people are getting to know the Swamiji, and they're coming and they're listening to him, and they are getting attracted because he is a pure devotee of the all attractive Lord. So the Lord is all attractive. He can attract anybody and everybody that he wants, but he wants to attract the pure hearted, the gentle hearted, the butter hearted devotees. So America में भी, American bodies में भी, we see there are such nice, sincere people who want to listen to the message, pure message coming from a pure devotee. Yeah, it's a wonderful story. I mean, very, very inspiring. Yes, Mataji, Prabhuji, anything else that you would like to add?
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for explaining so well. Like you said, Chetak word, I can totally relate. जो चेतक वर्ड की डेफिनेशन थी, that is apt for Prabhupada ji. Like he was so focused, no matter the size of room or whatever the difficulties he faced in US, but he was totally focused. Like his main, like preaching Krishna consciousness, and so many people came to help him in the foreign country, all because of the mercy of Krishna, and all because of the mercy of Prabhupada. We are also in Krishna consciousness. अगर वो सब लोग हेल्प करने नहीं आते तो हम भी मतलब ये इस मिशन से नहीं जुड़ते. So like all glories to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for explaining so well.
Hari bol,
Yes,
so true. Hari bol.
yes, प्रभु. या वो एक भजन है माधवास का, look up कर सकते हैं गूगल पे. यदि प्रभुपाद ना होते तो क्या होता, ये जीवन बहता कैसे. जैसे हम यदि
Mm.
प्रभुपाद ना होते तो क्या होता, वही
Mm.
वही कहता है
True,
कि
true, true,
like
Prabhuji.
we would have been just lost in this
Mm.
samsara, which is like a बवंडर के जैसे. मतलब जस्ट एक whirlwind के जैसे घूम रहे हैं यहाँ पे without any purpose. There are so many people, right? I mean, there are so many seekers also. So that is why it is important that, yeah, in whatever capacity, we are nobody, but in whatever capacity we can bring somebody to Krishna, we can at least share this message, help people with prashadam. किसी भी तरह से we can connect people to Krishna. And that is something that we can learn from Srila Prabhupada's life. But yeah, like you said, if he had not come, because there are so many other disciples of his Guru Maharaj, right? But nobody took that took that seriously, that message that we have to share this message to the West. But he, despite all his old age, despite all the inconvenience, वही वो बोलते हैं बार बार, वो कल भी बोल रहे थे, right, कि why am I here? I'm here because I was ordered by my superior that you should go and preach, right? That was just one thing that he had in his mind, and with that he wanted to fulfill that order of his spiritual master. Otherwise उनके लिए 70 years में it was very easy just to sit and chant. अगर वो खुद के बारे में सोचते तो उनको क्या था, उनको सब पता था भक्ति के बारे में. वो आप वृंदावन में आराम से बैठे थे, वृंदावन में बैठ के भजन कर सकते थे, राइट. और वहीं पे अपने प्राण त्याग सकते थे, और he could have just gone back to Godhead. बट जैसे प्रहलाद महाराज है, प्रहलाद महाराज बोलते हैं कि आई डोंट वांट एनीथिंग फॉर माई सेल्फ, आई जस्ट वांट ऑल दीज पीपल टू बी लिबरेटेड, टू लव यू. सो प्रहलाद महाराज भक्त तो वही होते हैं कि they don't care about themselves. That is the mode of humility, that he doesn't want anything for himself. He just wants to help others. That is the mode of compassion. He is wanting to preach and wanting to share this message as much as possible. और यहाँ पे कल भी वो बोले थे कि अगर एक, even if one person becomes Krishna consciousness, that will be success of his life, because his Guru Maharaj told him to preach in the West. Of course, he was at this age, he was not sure, in the poem also that he wrote at Boston, he was not sure how long he'll be in this world. He was just completely dependent on the mercy of his Guru and Krishna, that whatever they want to do, they will do. I'm just an instrument. But yeah, since he was racing against time, he wanted to at least have one person take up this. But now, by Krishna's mercy, not just one, not just two, three, four, more and more people are coming forward. So that's wonderful. And now, today in this world, after 50, 60 years of his leaving, we have millions of devotees all around the world. So that's just incredible, where this journey started and where it is today, and where it will continue for the next 10,000 years. Prabhupada ne bola tha ki my books will be read for the next 10,000 years. So that is the power of this pure devotee, and power of the message of the pure devotee. Through these books and through this chanting, this golden age within Kali Yuga will continue for the next 10,000 years. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Prabhu and Mataji, for your kind association on a Saturday morning, which is not very easy. But, again, we are so grateful. I'm grateful to have your association, and hopefully we all can continue to imbibe this mode of consistency and sincerity from Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, so we'll end with thank you, Prabhu. We'll end with Vaishnav
A
Pranam
pleasure
prayers.
to have the association of all the great devotees, and as the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant, or the Prabhuji, believe it or not, you are guiding us a lot with your all sweet words and with all your kind guidance. I just want to add one thing. Like, for the last so many years, I have read books, and I don't remember that. Like, I haven't tried to read Buddhist teachings and all that stuff. It gives peace for some time, and then again we get lost. But with your guidance, we are really, really very, very grateful that we are getting the real meaning of devotion. Although I'm not at that point where things are exactly the way we want it, but and then reading about Prabhupada ji that he has gone through so much, which is nothing in front of what we are going through, keeps giving us inspiration. So thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Both of you, all of you have have been giving us guidance. That's all I can say towards the ISKCON, towards Krishna consciousness, and it's really helping in the sense uh, one step at a time and keeps giving us inspiration. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the Guru Parampara and everything. The message is coming from there. Like I said, like Prabhupada is a Chataka bird. I'm just a parrot bird. So we are just repeating. All of us are just like parrots. We just have to become parrots. We have to just repeat the message. We don't have to manufacture anything new. Everything has been given by Srila Prabhupada. All the ammunition, like my Guru Maharaj said, all the ammunition that we need to fight Maya is given by Srila Prabhupada. So we just have to know how to use it. Yeah, we can have our own style of presenting things, but the message is the same and message should be the same. So yeah, all glories to Srila Prabhupada that he gave us this wonderful knowledge, and by his life we are able to take this inspiration. So thank you so much. All right, we'll conclude with Vaishnava Pranam prayers. वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। जगद्गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। शिला प्रभुपाद लीलामृत की जय। सत्स्वरूप दास गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। हरि हरि बोल। हरे कृष्णा। Thank you. We'll see
Hare
you this
Krishna.
evening. The program. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.